All right, on to feeding. Feeding your baby is the second checkbox, okay, that you're going to think about when it comes to managing your infant, right? Right now, you are totally poised to rock and roll and know how to change a baby's diaper and associated issues in a big way. Now for feeding, all right? So when it comes to feeding, let's talk a little bit about breastfeeding, okay? If you're going to be formula feeding your baby, then you're going to be formula feeding your baby, okay? And that's going to be super easy to figure out because on the cans of formula, it gives you the formula on how much they need, how much you're going to mix, okay? And that's pretty much, that's to it, all right, from the beginning. And look, in this, we're going to be just talking a little bit here about breastfeeding in general, the benefits of it, and I want to share with you in the feeding world, right? You're bringing this new baby home, and that is a main need of theirs is to be fed. And there is a lot of dogma on breastfeeding and, formula feeding and what's the best. And, it always comes down to what's best for your family, okay? What is best for your family? And to a certain degree, really, again, it comes so much down to having your feet planted on the ground, being centered, and being able to connect with your woman, right? So between you and me, whatever she says, if she's like, hey, I want to breastfeed, you're like, great. And we're going to talk about supporting her in breastfeeding. And if she's like, hey, we're going to formula feed, you're like, okay, tell me what to do, get which formula. With formula in general, okay, formula is the best it's ever been, okay? So just to kind of set you at ease, if you guys decide, hey, we're going to formula feed this baby, ideally you can block out everybody else's, opinion and, perspective and, right? It comes down to feeling good and centered and you guys together saying, you know what, this is going to work for us, okay? In the big picture, all right? Now, with that being said, I want to share with you being in this world and knowing what I know and, all of the deep levels of understanding of breastfeeding and the benefits. I am a huge breastfeeding advocate, okay? For so many reasons, right? So many. The breast milk is literally created for your baby. Your woman is made like a woman, human being woman is designed to produce food for this infant that doesn't even know it's separate yet. There's a lot of really good reasons for breastfeeding, okay? If your woman is willing and able and wanting to breastfeed, one thing I do want to share with you from the back end, right? Like my peers are, they're on the other end, helping to support the women breastfeeding. So many women from the other side would be more successful at breastfeeding. What I want to share with you I hear a lot, is that women are not getting supported at home by their husbands for breastfeeding, okay? Now look, you're here taking a class, learning about how to manage your infant and be a better dad, so you're probably on the page that, breastfeeding is probably a good idea if they're willing and able to do it, right? So, and maybe not. Maybe, you're taking this thing and you're like, let me just take this thing. Again, even down here, back to this road of divorce and road of despair, so much comes from this, this first year is such a critical time in your world. So many changes, it's not, God willing, you have a normal, healthy, standard issue, human being baby delivered to you. So many of the issues is not the baby. It's you guys, working out the new normal and what's right for you and again, I hear on the other end how many women are not supported, even in breastfeeding. And I think it's because a lot of dudes just don't understand the benefits of breastfeeding. I mean, there's no downside to breastfeeding that I've ever heard. A lot of dudes, again, it's the sex thing and they're just for sex and sexy and boobs. And again, if we're here, we're talking about being relevant, today and moving forward. It's more about maturing up and understanding, if our focus is on what's best for our being that we created, right? We came together, we created this little being, we're responsible for it, we want it to be as healthy as possible. Breastfeeding's a pretty good way to help them get a good start. So if you weren't on the support, woohoo, whatever it takes to help them, maybe consider that it's made for them. It helps their immunity. It helps their gut development. It helps your woman and releases good, healthy hormones. And there's so many benefits to breastfeeding. Okay, we don't need to get into all of them. The main thing for us to understand as dudes is that it's really good. It's free. She could feed them anytime. It's really a pretty good deal, right? It's really pretty good. If she's willing, if she's able to try it, okay, then it's all good. This guy is very much in support of it. There's a lot of support people around to help her, okay? And getting into that a little bit, being on the other end, understanding, from your perspective, being on your side of things, right? Going to doctor's appointments and midwives, OBs, whoever your doctor is that's going to deliver the baby. And I'm hearing there's so much stuff coming at you in the breastfeeding. Should she not? She's hears from friends who've had great experiences, from not great experiences, all of it, okay? If she's willing and able, right, and you're supportive of the process, it's really going to help things along. And you don't need to be an expert, although you're going to know, I'm going to teach you a couple things that are going to set you apart from most dudes that you know, okay? However, recruiting help and having the lactation community, the La Leche League, and local support chapters, there are groups and websites and phone, calls, free, consults that you can get to support her. One thing I want to share with you that might help is that out in the world, out in social media, a couple people have a bad experience with a lactation consultant or, a support person, and they badmouth the whole thing. And I'm here to say, I really have a relationship with all these folks, and I can understand, and I want you to understand, that yes, in the birthing community, and look in every community, of support people, let's just call some people extra passionate, okay? They're super passionate about women breastfeeding, and it's the right thing to do, and yes, okay? It's really coming from a place of them understanding how healthy it is and how good it is and how free it is. And yes, some folks can be a little passionate, and it can turn off some women, okay? So from you and me, our perspective, there are other coaches and support people, that are a little more moderate and may connect better with your woman. So from our perspective, if we're going in on the support side, to be open-hearted and understanding that yes, some folks are extra passionate and more people are more in the moderate range. If your woman is willing and able and really wants to breastfeed, just to have an open heart and also to be open to different support, okay? And to, yes, listen to friends and their experiences, and also just to be open for her own experience and to connect with different folks. And you could be like, you know what, honey, yes, there are some super passionate, overbearing coaches or whatever. Let's look at some other ones. Maybe you don't throw in the towel right away. Maybe we just haven't found the person who's going to help you to get over the difficulties or the challenges, the obstacles you're dealing with. Okay, it goes a long, long way. Going a little bit further now into understanding breastfeeding, right, and supporting your woman through breastfeeding. Okay? Okay. Understanding that it's often a process, right? And look, you guys I don't know what your intimate life is. However, if she's not used to having her nipples pinched and squeezed and, it's a bit of a learning process. Even for women who are super gung-ho about breastfeeding, it's a bit of a process. I mean, look, when we first had our first baby, what do I know? I thought, she pops the baby out, her boobs fill up with a gallon of milk and, they've been doing it from the beginning of time. Whatever, no big deal. Okay. So it's more of a big deal than I certainly thought it was. And again, just being conscious that, let's just think about this. Your baby's going to be hungry at least 8 times a day because they're not eating so much, right? In the beginning especially, they're getting like a little, teaspoon to a tablespoon of milk with each feeding. They're not producing all that much right away. So there's a big trial and error. With your woman needing to be able to feed the baby, the most ideal situation for her is being relaxed. Okay, so understanding that it is a process, number one, that it helps if she's relaxed during the day. So of course, the more supportive you are, the more you know how to handle things, she's going to be able to be more relaxed. Okay. Here, I guess, is a good time to talk about having a postpartum doula as well. Postpartum doula is amazing. Doulas in general, amazing, okay? Amazing support people. We'll talk more about doulas in birth management. However, here in the breastfeeding point, you already had your baby, you're coming home, and a postpartum doula is amazing because they're helping with tasks, okay, not related to your woman bonding with the baby and you also connecting, taking care of the baby. A postpartum doula having help in the house to manage the other tasks that need to go on so she can focus on feeding the baby and relaxing, through these different times of the day. Very relevant. I'm having that support. Postpartum doula, amazing. Okay, amazing resource. Okay, so here we are supporting our women, helping with other things around the house. We don't, if you had a choice of getting like a night nurse or a postpartum doula, helping to, take away the other responsibilities so your woman, if she's breastfeeding, can do those things. You guys can do the baby stuff to connect. Again, we're talking about you. You are the dad. She is the mom. And your main job is helping this baby who is just kind of freaking out to feel safe, that their needs are being met by the mom and dad. So you guys being able to do that, it really helps them to feel safe and sets them up for, feeling safe and secure with you as their mom and dad. Okay? So again, a lot of this is helping you to recognize for her to breastfeed, it's helpful if she's relaxed and calm. That's when the milk comes down and all of it. Okay? So now a couple of specific things. That's kind of big picture, just having a consciousness that it's, emotionally it takes some effort for the woman to get used to the breastfeeding, the positions, the squeezing of the nipple, all of that. All right? Now a couple of actual literal tools that you can use to help support her. Number one, what's her goal? Hey babes, what's your goal in breastfeeding? 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year? Like, what's your vision here, babes? I'm all for you breastfeeding, and how long do you want to do it for? Very relevant. Why? Just like success at large, having a goal is only going to increase her odds of being successful at breastfeeding. So it's a great question to ask her. Hey, honey, what's your goal for breastfeeding? Okay? Then you can help support her in that goal. All right? Next is hydration. So a standard issue, human being person, you, me, your baby, your woman, okay? Not your baby. Your baby needs milk, okay, or formula, right, for nutrients, not water per se. But your woman and you, and when they get older, a human being person, to stay hydrated, to be just like on a healthy, your body is hydrated, okay? The powers that be have determined, and it seems to make good sense, it's about half your body weight in ounces per day, all right? So I'm a 200-pound guy. I'm shooting for like 100 ounces of water per day. I have like a 20-ounce cup. I'm trying to get about 5 of those a day. It's not always the case. However, I have a consciousness that, listen, if I do get about 5 a day, I'm staying pretty hydrated, right? Even with the amount of coffee I drink. So do the math. Hey, honey, figure out how much she weighs, all right, post-birth. And you can say, right, she's a 140-pound woman, so 70 ounces a day. Maybe you have a cup like this or, a thing she likes to drink out of. Hey, babes, maybe, just again, we can support her. Have you been drinking enough water? Have you had the 6 cups of water, that would help you to be hydrated? Because look, it's not just her being hydrated, she's also producing milk, right? So she doesn't need to be crazy overly hydrated, but at least herself at a normal hydration level, maybe a little more. And look, even if she doesn't get it all down, some women don't love water. Even if she doesn't get all of it, if she has a goal and you helped her kind of figure out how much water would be ideal, it's a great way that you can support her in staying hydrated. Hydration in general is a great little area of parenthood, fatherhood, husbandhood. I think hydration is this little thing that's a huge deal. However, so many of us are walking around not hydrated enough. And being hydrated eliminates so many health issues at large. So many kids, constipation and different issues because they drink a lot of juice and sugary junk and just not a lot of water. You can say, what, we're having this conversation in class about hydration, and what if you decided you were going to be the champion of hydration of water? And you're like, babes, I think we should not have any juice or soda in the house. Let's just take that out of the equation. And not saying they never have a soda or some juice at grandma's house. However, in a very real, relevant way, if you were like no juice and no soda, your kid would only be healthier if they never had a glass of orange juice. It's just the way it is. Give them an orange. It's so much sugar, right? So again, little relevant things. We're the champion of no sugary drinks in the house. Pretty relevant, okay? And believe me, I'm not saying my kids never had juice or soda. We go out. However, I've been pretty much the champion of that, and they stay relatively healthy because we're just decreasing oodles of sugar, okay? Clearly, it's beneficial that we decrease that. And again, the hydration, little things us men can be the champion of, that we're bringing to the table, makes us super relevant, okay? Okay, so we're supporting our woman. We have an understanding of the big picture here, that it takes a little time, effort, help, getting them help, knowing what their goal is, keeping them hydrated.